Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations, where Iris has confessed to the crime, and now we try to basically prove to the court that she didn't do it. After all, she is the defendant here, she is the one we are hired to protect. Let's get to the bottom of this as we continue to press her statements on things. While Mystic Mayor was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike.
Hold it!
Did she now? She moved in to deliver a fatal strike?
Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon.
Wait a minute. What was this weapon?
It was some kind of dagger.
A dagger, huh? And Elise Nim tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Faye?
Yes, exactly.
Huh. You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce. Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? Do I have a problem with Iris's testimony? There is one thing. When we're given these options, we always choose that option. Your Honour, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony.
You do? But this witness is your own client.
Yes, well, nevertheless.
That's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a moment, it's my job to say that. Listen, Gramps, I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. Ugh. Okay now, let's continue.
She threw her staff away and pulled a dagger from inside her robe. I doubt that very muchly, somehow. Why would she throw her staff away? Are we really already revealing this, when the victim's staff itself is a weapon? I guess the dagger might be better, but, you know, the staff has range. She can easily just pull the bit off, surely.
Objection!
I think we found our first case buster. Sister Iris. There's something strange about your version of events.
Huh?
Ms. Donim's throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me.
But all you can do with a staff is hit someone.
Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword.
Ah!
If Elise Donim really had wanted to kill Mayor Faye, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? That was an impressive bit of investigating, Trite. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy, and thus quite ineffective in close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade. Well... Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Mayor Faye. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony.
Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point.
Very well, Your Honour. The defence will now present evidence to back its argument.
Mr. Wright!
I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise Donim would never attempt to take the life of Mayor Faye. So how are we revealing this? Probably via just her profile then. Misty Faye, real name.
Take that!
Elise Donim would never have attacked Mayor Faye.
Huh? How can you be so sure?
Because the victim's real name was not Elise Donim. Her real name was Misty Faye.
Faye?
Ah! No! Not Misty Faye!
Who is this Misty Faye? Is she related to... Misty Faye is the master of the crane channeling technique. She is also the mother of Mayor Faye. Are you serious? Deadly so.
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Donnym actually the great mystic Misty?
There's no doubt about it. It looks like Iris had no idea.
I can hardly believe it.
The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing. Order in the court. Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. And taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe.
Listen, there's nothing in this world that is impossible, except for one little thing.
Yes? What is this one little impossible thing?
Ha! You still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under-roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps.
Could you get to your point?
I heard this witness's confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee.
8th of morning and 17 in a trial or whatever it was? It's ridiculous, man. How are you just not... just everywhere, just jiggling about? So hyper.
You're going to ruin your health, my friend. Exactly. Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty.
Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing?
Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else?
Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be red paint on it. Blood, of course, but still. Test it first. But of course he already has. Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene.
Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene?
Huh? The pine tree?
This dagger was stuck in the back side of the pine tree.
Oh, you know, I can't see it because 2D pictures. Fairness.
When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women, this little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree.
Thrown?
Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct? Ha! Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee.
Did you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago?
I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice.
In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. That sounds really weird. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately.
This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right.
Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Sure thing. Please tell me more. Now then, the testimony we just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible.
Cute girls never lie. Ever.
In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About that, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw? The battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor.
The battle itself.
Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff, but then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defences with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then then she collapsed.
Why would she fling the knife away after being stabbed? Why?
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore.
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
Right, the battle. To be honest, we wonder.
Mystic Mayor stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff.
So the staff was used as a weapon rather than being used as a sword. That seems silly.
But then she dodged Mystic Lee's next attack and stole a weapon.
Again, this is crazy. She's got martial skills we never knew of. Iris, where were you standing when you witnessed all of this? Indeed.
What do you mean?
How did you view this all? Why did you not intervene in the fight?
Etc, etc.
Well, if either of them had noticed you, they might not have continued their battle.
I wonder if that's true. The two of them, they were standing near the garden's stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. It was dark where the two of them were, so I think that's why they didn't see me.
So it was dark in the garden when the murder took place. Tell me, what did Miss Mayor Fay do after she was struck?
She flung the knife away. Oh no, she dodged and stole the weapon.
Hold it!
What happened to the victim's staff then?
I'm not sure. The area was very dark, so I really couldn't see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated.
That makes sense. That would explain the need for the dagger.
Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike. Mystic Mayor dodged it at the last second. The dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground. And then at some point, Mystic Mayor picked it up.
Nothing sounds especially strange yet.
What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her?
Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defences with her back to the stone lantern.
This seems incredibly exact. You're saying that Mayor Fay turned the tables on the victim?
Yes. But Mystic Mayor wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger.
I still can't believe it. The idea of Mayor cornering someone at knife point is just silly. It is. And the martial skill that she would have gained.
As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal.
I believe the correct description of a cornered fox is scared and petrified.
Your animal analogies have grown tiresome.
You were the one who started it! I can imagine Darth Vader saying this as a retort, to be honest.
Anyway, so after Mayor Fay backed the victim into the stone lantern, what happened next?
As for Mystic Mayor stabbed Mystic Elise.
The fact that the picture stays up here is the important part, surely. I don't know. Let's press this. It's got to be something about the wound, after all. Are you absolutely certain that's what you saw?
Yes, I'm almost certain.
Almost?
The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who.
What did she just say? So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely.
Objection!
We know that Mayor Fay was at the inner temple that night, and that the woman that was killed was Elise Donim. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who?
I don't have anything to counter that yet.
Well then, witness, please continue your testimony.
Yes, Your Honour. Two of them face each other for a moment.
Why? I mean, this is continuing with the testimony like straight on here.
Then Mystic Mayor rushed straight into Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground.
So she was stabbed in the stomach, huh?
Yes. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
See, I'm not sure. I think this is where we're looking at, especially because it added some extra lines here. Right, we're probably presenting something, because of course it's probably not going to be a profile. Stabbed in the front. Stabbed in the back. course it had to be something silly and trivial like that. Well, trivial for the small point, but not trivial for the case as a whole. Lots of blood from stabbing the back, not the front, you know. And of course the murder weapon would have been removed, so why would the person be stabbed in the back? Lots of blood from it. Body fell 10 feet, still unexplainable. Where did it fall from here? I do not know. Of course it made it to the other scene. Present.
Objection!
Something about you just isn't right today, Iris.
Huh?
Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions.
What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony?
According to you, Mayor Faye stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct?
Yes, that's right.
But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right?
Yes, I think so.
But according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back.
Ah!
This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony.
Nah!
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
It's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. You get my drift?
Is that all you have to say?
I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind.
Objection!
Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make any sense. Throwing away useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach.
There certainly are some inconsistencies.
Well, Iris, how about it?
Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee. But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said?
Prosecutor Cadeau, explain yourself.
The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light.
Light.
By the way, did you know? Hazakura has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern in the garden must be kept lit. I did wonder what the stone lantern was there for.
Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly?
Normally, yes, Your Honor. But according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern. Impossible? It hadn't been used in a long time and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to have been nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all.
Most enlightening.
Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. But yes, in the pitch black, they could instantly do like a disarmal of weapon and reusement. Yeah, they could do that. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, trite? No!
Order!
Here, Your Honor. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. Alright, the stone lantern has been added to the court record. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot?
This lantern, there's something written on it!
There is, yes. Well done, Judge. I think we know that generally as part of evidence. But for now, we leave it for this episode. We're breaking part of the testimony, but we're not really getting anywhere. More evidence is being presented, and Godot seems to have everything firmly on hand at the moment. How can we break this flow? Join me next time for more Phoenix Wright. Bye-bye.